Hello, comrades. Sebastian Michael Cruz here. Today's topic is Genius Talent 16. So, if you have Genius Talent 16 in your Genius Path, I'm going to give you a brief intro about what that means for you. And if you haven't gotten your free Genius Path report yet, go ahead and get it. It's at decodeyourgenius.com. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with the green rectangle on the right. So, Genius Talent 16 is about bringing spiritual knowledge into common society and doing it in a way that people can understand, they can easily understand. It's like using layman's language for advanced esoteric principles. So usually with esoteric spiritual knowledge, it's something that's very hard to understand, hard to grasp, hard to relate to real life. And Genius Talent 16 bridges the gap. So it takes very powerful principles and puts it into everyday language. So a couple examples of this is Dr. Bruce Lipton has Genius Talent 16. You see that with his work where it's the biology of belief as well as exploring epigenetics. So with his work, it's bridging the gap between the science of physical matter and the unseen realms of energy. Another example of this is Naval Ravikant, who is the co-founder of AngelList. So he's a well-known Silicon Valley entrepreneur, investor, and he has a podcast about wealth principles. So you might think at first glance that it's not spiritual, but that's the key with Genius Talent 16. It's really taking the core essence and putting in everyday language. So with his podcast, he's got a number of these principles. It's timeless wisdom that's really distilled and communicated in very down-to-earth language. And that's Genius 16 talent at work, because this is not about some guru or some holier than thou person having these amazing principles. That's the opposite of Genius Talent 16. It's having credible wisdom delivered in everyday language. So let's take a look at what gets in the way of this. So the resistance pattern of the 16 is refusal of the spiritual and unforgiving of either yourself or others or both. So having 16 in your genius path, the key is to explore the spiritual knowledge, because when the resistance pattern is running, exploring the spiritual realm is the last thing the resistance pattern in the 16 wants to do. So notice that in yourself. Have you been exploring or have you not been? And if you have been, well, if you haven't been, fucking get moving. Let's go. You've got a genius talent awaiting you on the other side. And if you have been, then continue that and also share what you've learned, and notice how you share it in down-to-earth everyday language, because that is your genius talent. Because there's a lot of people that want to explore the knowledge, but the language just doesn't connect with them. And that's where your genius talent comes in, is you can communicate the timeless principles of wisdom in a way that everybody understands. But you got to reverse that resistance and start exploring the spiritual to begin with. All right, so let's see. My personal experience this with myself and clients is exactly that, is the people that are the most resistant to the spiritual, they either have this one or a different one. And then once they get into it, it's expressed in a much different way. So just really know that you have this hidden ability to communicate to people the essence in language that's simplified, okay? So that's what I've got for you about Genius Talent 16. If you hadn't gotten your Genius Path report yet, go ahead and get it. It's at decodeyourgenius.com. My name is Sebastian Michael Cruz, and I'll see you in the next video.